I added the remaining because I didn't want to have any left over. And let me just seal it up with the dark chocolate again rather than the white. For no particular reason, I just want to do that. Maybe because the next layer that is going on is chocolate cake, and of course it's going to blend perfectly. So that's it right here. So this is the last layer now, and this is where it gets to that you need to hear me. Now whenever I'm working with my cake, the last layer never goes bottom down, it goes up, it goes face down into the cake. Why do I do that? The reason why I do that is, for me, basically over the years, I've been very big on sharp edges on cakes. Regardless of the design that I end up with, I always believe that when you have, your cake canvas already looking very clean with the edges sharp and well defined, it gives it an extra look of perfection. It gives it an extra professional look, and it doesn't look hurried or look too rushed, or it doesn't look like it's not done nicely. So because of that, it's almost impossible for you to achieve sharp edges when you work with a face down part of the cake. So that is why I work with a face down, but when I get to the top cake, no matter the amount of layers I work with, I then decide to turn it face down. In turning it face down, you all know that the edges are more out, and then it's easier to get a grip on sharp edges rather than the slopey side, which is the other side of the cake. And that's it right there. So as always, this is one thing I always do with my cakes. I'm going to be filling up all these patches with the cakes that I trimmed out from the surface, so that they don't go to waste, and so that the fillings don't gush out, secondly, and also so that when I trim the cake, I won't get too particular about trimming it too small, because I'm trying to make sure the edges are even. So what I do is make sure that I hold everything in place as much as possible. All right, and that's what I'm just trying to do here. It's gonna look a bit rough initially, but by the time I'm done with my trimming, you will see that the difference is very clear. And after trimming the cake, you all will see that it's even a lot better to follow this approach of cutting it up and trimming, rather than just working with your cakes untrimmed. Because in as much as you're trying to make sure that your cake is not getting wasted, you want to make sure that your cake looks very appealing, whilst you're working on it. Because I always believe that if your cake is not looking attractive, I might not even be interested in tasting. Okay, so I feel like it's the look first, and when you get a hang on your look. And for me, I feel like if you don't trim your cake by the side, you end up using too much cream around the sides of the cake. And I personally do not like to work with so much cream, whether in the layers or whether around the sides of the cake, because I always prefer that the client gets a maximum experience eating the cake, and not just so much cream, and that would probably get rid of that experience, that original experience that comes with eating a cake. And so for me, since I do not like to use so much cream that comes with working with cakes that are not trimmed around the sides, I just rather trim my cake so that I don't have to use the cream to hide any bulges or any flaws, that would want to shoot out if I use just a little cream. You can see the difference. Just take a look at the difference. I'm not even done trimming, but look at the side that I trimmed, and look at the side I haven't trimmed. Now take a look at it and see clearly that it looks a whole lot better trimmed, looks a whole lot better, looks well defined, and of course looks more professionally done than if I leave it like this. So if I choose to leave it like this, for whatever reason, which is not even typical of my style, if I decide to leave it like this, what is going to happen is I'm going to have to use almost double the size of the cream I would use normally around the sides, so that it would gain enough momentum around the sides and cover up all this kind of bulges that you can see even in the video. So that's the reason why it's a personal thing, it's a preference thing. There are no rules to these things, but I thought it's nice to tell you what I think or why I adopt a particular decorating style. If you do not like to trim your cakes, trust me, you can stick to your style. But if you haven't tried to trim a cake before, you might want to try it once. I mean, so that you can see what, you know, differences it will give your cake. I wouldn't say you should trim the cake and make it too small. Definitely, I'm not doing that in this video. I'm just evening it out and giving it clean, defined sides. And of course, I'm making sure that they have straight sides, right? Because when you have your cake having straight sides, it really helps to have a very beautiful design at the end of the day. All right, so that's where we are now. I'm just going to go quickly to try and do this very quickly. After I'm done with the sides, I'll move up to the top to just even it out, and then of course I'll be popping this back into the freezer for about 30 minutes to 1 hour. I mean, I think I've said this before, but I can say it again, that the taller your cake, the longer the chill time will be. But this is just a 3 layers cake, so really I don't expect it to sit in the freezer for longer than 30 minutes. Do you get me? Because it's not tall, it's just a big basic size. It's just that I cannot take away that part of my decorating. But know that for this kind of cake height, I can still go ahead to just do the first coating and the second coating all at the same time. All right, because it's not so tall, so it doesn't need so much to keep the structure in place, especially when you have actually stacked it nicely and it's balanced. So when it's balanced, if it's a quick cake, so I don't want to be a preacher of just crumb coating your cakes all the time. You should crumb coat your cakes, because when you crumb coat your cakes, it gives you a better result. But at a point when you cannot crumb coat your cake, maybe you have a quick order, or, well, I don't want to say budget cake, a quick order, because it's not all quick cakes that are budget cakes. It could be a well-paid cake, a well-paid cake, or a cake that was well paid for, but it's a last-minute order and you really want to come through for your clients. Yeah, you can go ahead to not crumb coat your cake, because you know that when you don't crumb coat your cake, you save yourself the extra 30 minutes or 1 hour that you have to wait for it to get firmed up. All right, but in doing that, you have to be an expert, because if you're not careful, you're going to end up with a mess with so much cake crumbs, especially if you trim the cake, you know, flying all about the whole place. But if you don't trim the sides at all, maybe you can just go ahead, but you might end up with a bulge side. So you can pick whichever one you find most convenient, most comfortable, and easier for you. For me, this is my style. I've used this style in 14 years or more, and it's never failed me. I can't even remember if I've had any cake casualties with my cream cakes. I don't think so. If at all any, maybe in my early days of decorating cakes, probably. I'm just thinking, because right now as I'm teaching this, I can't even remember if I've had any cake casualty in recent times. I can't, because yeah, I know how I handle all my cakes at least 85%. I know how they go out. I always get feedback, and I can't remember anybody giving me any negative feedback. So that said, you all know what I'm talking about. Just trying to make small talks. So now we're done with the trimming of the cake, and we're going on with the crumb coating. So the crumb coating is just basically to just seal in all of these crumbs. As I said earlier, it seals in all of these crumbs and it helps it to stay in shape, so that all the crumbs here don't get in the way of the final coating. So at this point, I'm just trying to comb it with my scraper so that it would take out every excess, and of course to smoothen it. You can see that it's a lot different from when I had not combed it. I'm doing that so that basically to smoothen it out and to reduce the cream around the body, so that it can dry up or get chilled and get easier to handle in a shorter time. So now I'll get out the excess on the edges, right here, something like that, like this. Get it out. All right, yeah. And think we're okay. So at this point, I will be picking the front part of my cake, considering my angles and considering what I feel like is the finest part of this cake. From the look of things, because of the design I'm going to be working with, I will be moving backward a bit. This is going to be the front part of my cake, so I'll be moving it backward a little bit like this. So at the end of the day, you will see that the back side has lesser space than the front side, and that is because of the design I'm going to come up with, because I need more space, you know, to project that particular design so that it can come out looking very much as what I want it to look like. So this right here is already a good sign, because of course the part that is bigger is automatically the front. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it now, and then just clean off the excess on the board so that I can throw this into the freezer for a few minutes, or rather I can pop this into the freezer for a few minutes, 30 minutes at the minimum for this cake. If it's a tall cake, 1 hour at the minimum, but if it's a cake that's 3 layers, 2 layers, 30 minutes at the minimum. Alright, so it goes into the freezer, and then I'll be back to show you all the final decoration. Together we'll glaze the donuts together and do everything together so that you all can learn how I'm going to do it. Okay, so now it's been over 30 minutes, like I said, and we're now covering the cake the second time. Take a look at those yummy donuts that will be going on the cake. And so basically just trying to apply and spread. See what I'm doing. I'll take some and then I'll spread it out. I'd always make sure to finish a part before moving to the next part. I don't just like go all the way around. So once I'm done with this side, I then move to the next side